Macroeconomically, as far as the future is concerned, I think with Elon Musk and the government efficiency team he's putting together, the government spending side is going to be cut in half. So there's going to be quite a lot of government workers that are going to come onto the market. And so for those government workers that are working in a department or an agency that becomes obsolete, your need to upskill has to happen right now, because when that day comes, you're going to have some type of skill to redirect that into the private sector. And so if you're waiting for this to come and don't think it's going to come, I would be upskilling right now, training, taking micro courses with MIT or Wharton and whatever it is that you want to do. There's all these micro courses for like 3 to 4K you can take just to upskill in a certain area, to beef up your resume and be ready for a market shift and change. So the government side is going to get cut in half on spending. The private side, there's going to be a reduction in or continued reduction in corporate tax rates. You're going to see interest rates come down. You're going to see a lot of cash flood into the market on the private sector side, and that's going to take off. Energy, construction. If you think about what does Trump do, it's energy, construction, logistics, all that's going to boom, probably even healthcare in some aspects. The government side's going to get suppressed unless you're business critical, if it's maritime or logistics or some sort of like linchpin or important piece to our government and national security. That'll stay in place. So what does that mean for you? Just keep leaning in. If what you're doing is not really necessary, I would start upskilling right now. But from a view of where I think the job market's headed, we've got probably, kind of a mixed signal. The next 2 years is going to be a lot of cutting of cost on the government side, which will impact portions of the private sector. Let's say you live in DC, for instance. DC jobs are going to get smashed, essentially. What does that mean? DC property values are going to come down because there's just not going to be as much cash in that area. And so you'll see certain areas that are government-centric, the unemployment rates are actually going to rise in those government-dependent cities. And so what do you need to do about that if you live in those cities? I would probably think about selling my house now versus in 2 years, if that makes sense. So these are just some ideas for the future. Where we're headed is constant change, constant ingenuity, never get comfortable, keep forging and straining ahead. This is Matt Fuhrman with Core Group Resources. Thanks for your time.